Welcome back. Joe Volpe, publisher of the Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian-language daily newspaper, here on behalf of Go Live TV and Corcan Media Group, following the themes of the day in the municipal elections in the Greater Toronto Area. Today, specifically for the City of Toronto, in York South-Weston, in Ward number 5. And I've got with me one of the candidates, Chiara Padovani.
That's right. That's
Okay,
me.
So Chiara Padovani, you're relatively new to politics, but here you are. Or maybe I'm wrong. You're not.
I am not new to politics, but this is the first time I'm running. Thank you so much for having me, Joe. And I've been in York South-Weston my whole life. I grew up in the neighborhood. I went to school here, and now I'm a social worker in the community.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to York Memorial.
Oh, okay. So that's over by Eglinton, just west of...
Eglinton and Keele.
There you go.
Yeah, right at the corner. And my nonna lives not far from there. She still lives in the same house that my nonno built after they came to this country. And so I have a long history in York
So where'd you come
South-Weston.
from? Just out of curiosity, before we get into politics.
My family is from Matera.
Matera?
Matera.
That's in Lucania.
That is.
Basilicata. Sorry,
That's right. Yes, yes. And
It's a nice little city. We were there.
it is a nice little city, and I know you did a nice piece about Matera not too long ago.
It was last year.
And it is a beautiful city, but it wasn't always a beautiful city. And in fact, when my grandparents, when my nonna made the decision to come to Canada and immigrated here for a future of opportunity for their children, they came during a time when Matera was known as the shame of Italy. And
That's changed.
it's changed a lot, and Matera is an example of a city that has become revitalized, and it is now a World Heritage Site. There's a lot of pride in Matera now. There always has been, but it is an example of a city that was ignored for a long time, and over the years has become revitalized, and now it is a beautiful place to visit. And I had the privilege of visiting there a few times to kind of retrace my family's history there.
It's going to be the cultural capital of Europe next year.
Well, even better, even better. And I think about Matera, and I think about my grandparents' journey to Toronto and to York South-Weston, and I think about a similar kind of situation because, like I said, even though I have had such a long history in York South-Weston, and I am so proud to call this place my home, and I always have. In fact, when I was little, I would go around as a little girl telling everybody in school, no, he built this city with his bare hands. Because he did, like so many Italian immigrants.
So where did he work, just out of curiosity?
He was a carpenter, and he worked. He built a lot of landmarks downtown, including the Toronto Dominion Center.
Okay, I'm not gonna date myself by telling you that I saw that thing being built. So your nonno must be he must be at least 40 years older than me.
And he's passed away, unfortunately.
Sorry
but
to hear that.
That's okay. But he instilled a work ethic in me that was about working hard and about building up. And so I am so proud to call York South-Weston my home because my nonno didn't just build things downtown. He also built things in our own community, including his own church and his home where my nonna still lives. And that sense of pride about building up a community is something I want to bring to City Hall.
But you're not a builder.
What's
your background?
I'm a different kind of builder, Joe.
What kind is that?
I'm a social worker. So I want to build a city that is equitable. I want to build a city that's where it doesn't matter what your postal code is. You can have access to basic city services. When I talk about some of the similarities with Matera and York South-Weston, York South-Weston has been a community that has been ignored over the years. We've seen...
It's still fairly blue collar.
It's still blue collar, it's working class, and I'm proud to come from a working class neighborhood, because it goes back to my roots as working class in this neighborhood as well.
By the way, there's no shame in actually earning a
Blue
living.
collar, yeah, okay. And it's working hard, it's getting your hands dirty and really working hard. But with that comes a lot of other challenges. So with that it comes lower incomes in the neighborhood, different social and economic challenges. We have a neighborhood that is a childcare desert. It's a neighborhood where there aren't enough...
What does that mean?
It means when there aren't enough childcare spaces to accommodate the children who need them. And it's not just with childcare, it's with other city services as well. We have a neighborhood that has very large waiting lists for those kinds of programs. And I want to build a city. I want to bring back that pride that my nono had when he was building
And your
up this
nonna
community.
must still have if she lives in the
And she does, and she does. And that we have a lot, we owe a lot to that generation and a lot to the waves of immigration that are coming now who are still continuing to build up this city. But we need to be able to put forward a plan where neighborhoods like York South-Weston that are working class and working hard have access to the same services as other parts in the city, where a family doesn't have to go outside of the city to get access, or outside of the community to get access to services.
So let me just interrupt you for a second while you catch your breath. So, you know, like I've traveled around that riding, that ward, and I've noticed a couple of things. So the first of these is that your signs seem to be distinctive. They're purple and green.
Yeah.
Right? Which party is that?
Yeah. So with municipal elections, as you know, there are no parties. Everybody runs independent.
Yeah, but what prompted this idea, that color combination?
The color combination came from two things. One was that I wanted to choose a color combination that was different. I think we need something new and something fresh in our municipal politics. But the colors came from women's suffrage, and it came from the women's suffrage movement.
Okay, so again, I'm going to date myself. I think I know what that means. What does it mean to you and to anybody else who's watching us?
So the movement for women's suffrage was the movement for women's right to vote. And the colors...
Empowerment of women in the past.
Yeah, and the colors are paying respect to all of the women who came before me, who fought for my right to even stand and for office and to be a candidate for an elected position.
Something that we take for granted today.
Something that we do take for granted today. And so I'm also part of a group called Women Win Toronto, which is a group that helps to support women to run for office. So the colors were chosen to kind of pay respect to all of the women who came before me, including my nonna, including my mother, who came before me and helped me get to where I am, not just as a person, but as somebody now running for political office.
So you said as well that you were a social worker by background. So you studied, aside from York Memo, you went where to university?
So I went to Trent University, which is in Peterborough, and then I went to York University for my master's. I did my master's in social work at York, and then I studied for my bachelor in international development. And
that's the international development. That's an economic-based study. It's not a social-based study.
It's economic and social, so it's a very interdisciplinary degree. And what I learned and what I then later worked in was developing in a way where there are local economies that are healthy, but that there are also social and recreational and cultural programs that are available to make a city or make a place a livable and a city that has a lot of well-being.
So did you take a look at, for example, and I don't mean to be too prodding for you, but through your study of development, did you assess the fact that in municipal politics there's usually an issue of dealing with sewers and sidewalks and roadways and transit?
Absolutely. So one of the most exciting things about municipal politics and why I'm running at the municipal level is because it's the level closest to the people. It's the level where, yeah, anything from sidewalks and snow removal and salting your streets to running water to flooding prevention, all of these are the kinds of things that a municipal candidate and a municipal councillor are responsible for doing. And again, I'm bringing it back to York South-Weston because this is my home and this is where I want to help improve. A lot of those services are lacking here. A lot of the resources and the services necessary to make this community a more livable, a more walkable, a more transit-friendly community aren't here. And I do believe we need more effective and more bold municipal leadership to bring those kinds of things to neighborhoods like mine.
So if I were a strategist for the other opponents or the other challengers for the position, I'd be tempted to think that you were criticizing the effectiveness of the representation in the area.
Well, there's a reason why I'm running in the first place. I do believe that the current councillors who I'm running against have been in power for a long time, and perhaps many years ago they were very effective. now I've seen this community miss a lot of really great opportunities, and I don't want to see future opportunities being missed, and it's why I'm running. So we have many exciting opportunities coming to the neighborhood. We have the Eglinton Crosstown. We have several stations on that crosstown coming. We have the Weston Up Express station. These are opportunities to really liven up and lift up a community and make sure that when it's developing in the best interests of the community and the people who live there already. I don't want to miss those opportunities in the future. I think having bold, fresh, new leadership with energy to actually put in the work to make it to make our community get the best deal. That's why I'm running, and I think somebody new can really get that job done, and I think I'm the person for that job.
Well, you know, the fact of the matter is that it's a brand new place, isn't it?
It is.
So York South-Weston is really a combination of two former wards. So you're running against two individuals who might be known in their portion of that ward, but may not be known in the other portion of the ward.
Yeah. So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to also bring both sides of the riding now together around some common interest, because even though both sides have particular issues, there's a lot of common ground as well. And so it's an opportunity for York South-Weston as a community that at the provincial and federal level has been, all of the indicators just show that it's been falling behind. It's an opportunity to really lift it up at the municipal level.
So I don't live too far away from there, so I kind of share the perception that maybe the gods in other places have forgotten about that part of Toronto. But I don't want to play into your own into your own line. But we're almost at the very end. That is a brand new riding. It may well be that it would be represented by somebody who's got a fresh look for both sides. It may well be. I don't know. You're going to have to convince people of that. But you're coming up against a couple of seasoned experts.
I am, and it's a challenge, but I am a tough cookie. I am my nonna's granddaughter. You don't grow up in an Italian household without growing up learning how to be tough, right? And so I think the stakes are very high. I think it is so important. This next election, there is an opportunity to vote for change, and there is an opportunity to demand better, and I'm up for that challenge, and I hope that come October 22nd, I can count on the support of the people in York South-Weston to vote for change and vote for me, Chiara Padovani.
There you go. So we'll end off with that, and thank you, Chiara Padovani, for sharing these few minutes with us on Corriere Canadese, Corriere.com, Corriere.ca, for all those who want to follow us on our online edition and on our social media, and of course on Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily. Thank you very much for watching. On behalf of Chiara Padovani and all those who are following municipal elections, until the next time.